Okay, the compassion process. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure or 100% sure where I'm going with it. This is a kind of a new understanding for me. I think there's background to it. I think the whole self-acceptance thing is that in this culture, particularly in the West, people have a very hard time with themselves. Have all sorts of ideas inculcated in them about how they're not good enough, how they should do better, how giving themselves a hard time is a way to get on. It's a peculiarly Western kind of thing.
It is.
And it involves a kind of one Buddhist writer called self-hatred. And I used to think that was a really extreme term, but actually I think it's true. And that a lot of people talk inside their heads, talk to themselves in a way that if they knew someone who talked to them that way, they would have nothing to do with them. If somebody had their inner critic walking down the street with them, giving it the way they do to themselves, they would, push them under a bus or run away or something like that. And it's an extraordinary thing that people do that. And I know that in my past, I've certainly done that as well. I've had that inner critic thing. It's much less now, happily. And I realised, doing the things that I was doing, it began to dawn on me that that was the thing that was really interested me, and the kind of work that I did was all based around compassion work, self-acceptance for myself in the first case, and then for other people thinking this is a really useful thing to do. So it became, I read a comment from somebody talking about James Dyson, the guy who invented the Hoover thing. That the Dyson thing, the Dyson thing, not the Hoover thing, the Dyson thing. And the reason he did it is because he found that his Hoover wasn't working. And so he went and built one that he thought would work. And the people in the book, which I thought was really interesting, commented that he scratched his own itch. The reason he did it was he was scratching his own itch. And then I got to thinking, what's my itch that I've been scratching all this time? And I realised that this kind of self-acceptance, compassion, was my itch. So this is the itch I've been scratching. So I knew a lot about it from personal experience, and could bring my experience of EFT, NLP, all the other stuff, to bear on that, to do the same kind of thing for other people within the same predicament. So that's quite, that understanding is probably less than a year old, really. So where it's going, I'm not altogether sure. Probably to lead to less inner critics wandering around beside people going like this, I think would be my hope. Because I think there's, you kind of see it hinted at by all the books, and you go into a bookshop and you see the self-help shelves are groaning under the weight of tomes of self-help kind of stuff. And I think a subtext underneath that is, if you sort out this problem, like you're overweight or you procrastinate or something like that, then you will be an okay person. And the being overweight is not the problem. It's the problem that you think you're the problem. And if you kind of take that away, then the other things become things you have to solve or do stuff or kind of, but it's a lot less, there's a lot less self-criticism, going to say self-abuse, but I mean in terms of kind of beating yourself up.
Metaphorically or literally. Yeah.
So I think my interest is kind of working on that side of things, which is not the obvious thing, because most people go, oh, if only I get this sorted out, then I'll be all right. Which is kind of what I used to think about myself. Could I only get this sorted out, then I'd be okay, and everybody would like me.
Certainly for me.